o'clock, we're going to start the meeting, the Town of Bay Harbor Islands organizational meeting. I'm going to call to order at 7 p.m. exactly. If we can all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, we have a young lady who is going to be performing. Come on up. Microphone's right there. That's it, yeah.
Can I introduce her?
Yeah. Check if it's on. Yeah. Or that one works too.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic of which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Great job.
Wait.
The mayor needs to talk to you for a second.
Wait, you're not done. Sophia. Okay. Let me say a little. Oh, by the way, good evening, everyone. So Sophia, come on.
Use the mic.
It says Sophia. You're
Don't
a
use
third
mic.
grade
Jordan,
student.
microphone.
Oh, here's the mic, so we can get on the record. Okay. So Sophia is a third grade student at Roof Cape Broad. You love math and singing and is currently enrolled in the town course program at the school. And you'll be delighted to do the Pledge of Allegiance at our town hall. And your family's been in the city for more than 25 years. So you love our city and our neighbors. Very good. Who's here?
My mom, she's here. Her name is Dislami Pelayo. My dad and my brother, they are both my dad, he respects the family. He's like the leader to our family, and my brother, he's like the co-leader.
Awesome. Well,
So we're like a big troop together.
awesome. That's very cool. And as a small token of our appreciation, we would like to present you with this certificate of recognition for saying the pledge. So thank you so much. Congratulations.
No.
We're going to move on to the roll call.
Councilmember Yaffe?
Here.
Councilmember Chicoche? Here. Councilmember Salver?
Here.
Councilmember Reed? Here. Councilmember Fuller?
Here.
Vice Mayor Bruder? Here. Mayor Leonard?
Here.
All present?
All right, very good. We're going to move on to number 1.
Salary. You all have your checks in front of you for $1 a year. And we will do the ceremonial exchange and photos.
Yeah.
Do I get Christmas?
Last year.
I already...
This is Christmas.
Yeah, this is,
Did you iron these?
these are nice. You went all out with the new
Alba
books.
went to the bank.
I made them this morning.
Technology of the town.
Okay.
I think it's tradition to donate to a charity of your choosing, so it's up to you.
I'd like to ask if we donate it to the school's PTA. Anything wrong with that?
That's fine.
All right, great.
Very good.
So they got the whopping $7, so there you go. So we're gonna, there we go.
Come on.
There we go. There we go.
You've done this before.
Yeah.
Okay, on 3. 1, 2, and 3. And again.
There we go. Yep, you got it.
Absolutely.
Who's keeping the dollar?
Let's
Come on.
go.
All right, there's the dollar.
Martin, try to frame your things in dollars, that's what it is.
Abraham, what's his name? Benjamin Franklin.
Thank you. Yeah.
More hair than I do.
All right, item number 2, please.
Item 2, acceptance of the certification of elections presented by Town Clerk and canvassing board members. Enclosed is a copy of the certification of the election results.
I provided to you a memo with the numbers, basically outlining the number of registered voters, the ballots that were cast, which for a total of 965, which 533 of those were vote by mail ballots. The turnout was 32.38%. Mr. Leonard received 620 votes, and Mr. Maya received 344 votes.
Great. We'll move to item number 3, please.
Administration of the oath to the newly elected council member. The oath of the office will be administered by our town clerk, Marlene.
We have to move to accept the result.
Well, in the past you have, but it's just...
Well, I'll move to accept it. I'll second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone against? All right, very good. All right.
I solemnly swear
I solemnly swear
that I will support
that I will support
the Constitution
the Constitution
and will obey
and will obey
the laws of the United States of
the
America
laws of the United States of America
and of the state of Florida,
and of the state of Florida,
that I will,
that I will,
in all respects,
in all respects,
observe the provisions
observe the provisions
of the charter and ordinances
of the charter and ordinances
of the town of Bay Harbor Islands,
of the town of Bay Harbor Islands,
and will faithfully discharge
and will faithfully discharge
the duties of the office
the duties of the office
of...
of council member.
Okay. We also have added a pledge of civility to the oath, as requested by Councilmember Reed, which reads to all my... Why don't you
Sure.
read that?
To all my colleagues.
You can join.
Sorry. To all my colleagues and to all those that represent and serve, I pledge fairness, integrity, and civility in all actions taken and all communications made by me as a public servant. Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Mother.
Do you want him to go?
Frank, I have a question. We have public comment. We don't traditionally do public comment for these items, so what's your opinion on that?
My opinion is it's not traditionally done, but it's always at the mayor's discretion.
Okay. I don't mind. Selection of a mayor, we have...
I'd like to nominate Bob Yaffe.
Okay, well, I was actually going to have public comment, but if you wanted to skip public comment...
Oh, no, go right ahead. I'm sorry. In the past, it's just important to get the nomination out in a hurry.
I thought it was also important for public comment. So Victor Maya, I will err on the side of transparency.
I thought that we would have a motion and a second, and then you can have discussion after that. But that's fine. I'm fine. I'm fine. If you're going to make, you're going to make an issue.
Mr. Maya, you have your 2 minutes.
Victor Maya, 1155 103rd Street. I would have liked to have made a comment on your nominees, whoever it is that you intend to make the mayor. But one thing that was made abundantly clear to me as I was campaigning, I was asked by, I would say about 85% of the individuals that I spoke to, whether I was running for mayor. You know, and to me, I think that was patently an unfair position to put me in, to have to explain to all of these voters out there that I really wasn't running for mayor, that I was only running for a council member position, and that the council members were the ones that selected the mayor. A lot of this was done because all of the communications were coming from our mayor, I have said time and time again, going back 5 years now, that the citizens of this town should have an opportunity to vote for mayor. If somebody wants to be mayor, they can run for mayor. And to have these confusing situations out there amongst our voters is something that should be concerning to everybody. It's not like this is something that, oh yes, whatever, this is how the system is. No, you can change the system. You can make it so that the individuals have an opportunity to vote for mayor. I think this is something that's very important to us. I would also like the opportunity to comment, and I think that the people out here should have the opportunity to make any comments regarding anyone that you would like to appoint to mayor before the final appointment is made. Thank you.
All right, thank you for your comments. And, all right, well, I don't know what item it is. All right, so you asked for Bob Yaffe. I would like to make a motion. Before that, before we get into the whole thing, I would like to say, first of all, thank you to all my colleagues. I've had 3 years. I know it said organizational meeting. It didn't say an actual item, so. Right, well, public comments we'll do at the end, but thank you for, You want to speak under this item?
I think if she wants to speak on the item, let her speak on the item.
Okay, you didn't put a number, so. Sure, Mrs. Newhart.
No, there is no public comment.
We don't have public comment, but I'll let you speak on it.
Well, that's why I put organizational meeting, because there was no place for comment.
Mrs. Newhart, you have your 2 minutes.
Francis Newhart, 1060 King Concourse. I've been going to these meetings for quite some time, especially these organizational meetings every year for about 10 years. Okay, and this is the first, for the last 3 years, this is the first time that I have seen people on this council that have not become the mayor. And it was a tradition for everyone to get a turn. I mean, if we're not going to have elected town mayor and control, I think that we should have new people who've been sitting on this council now and are experienced to become mayor. And Mayor Yaffe, I really appreciate that somebody suggested you, but 24, 25 years is getting up there. And we've got new people. We've got Kelly, who's never had the opportunity. We have Fuller. These are competent people who would surely take the job. So I wish we would go back to our tradition, if you will not give our citizens who are sitting here tonight the opportunity to vote for their own town mayor. Thank you.
All right, thank you for your comments. All right, so as I was saying, for the 9+ years that I've been on this council,
Do you have a public comment, or you want to? But wait.
Can you just wait a second, please? Let me finish.
Say what Jordan has to say.
I would appreciate it.
No problem.
As I was saying, for the 9+ years I've had the distinction of serving on this dais with different individuals, I've had the honor of 3 years being the vice mayor and 3 years as being mayor. And, to be quite honest, next month I'm going to have a very special distinction that very few people have the privilege of having. In fact, my colleague and former mayor Isaac Salvers had that distinction. Joe Gardner has had the distinction of being the president of the Miami-Dade County League of Cities. Representing all 34 municipalities, almost half the county, is going to be a daunting task. And I'm sure that there are probably at least one person maybe who might want me to be mayor. But to be honest, I know that it's time to move on, and I'd like to actually respectfully ask that we would have my vice mayor, Stephanie Bruder, be our next mayor, and I would like to make that motion.
Isn't there a motion on the floor?
There is a motion, but I didn't hear a second.
Bob,
Thank you, Kelly.
would you second it for discussion, please? I have a brief comment.
Well, Kelly, I wanted to thank you for the nomination. Well, I've been on the council, as Mrs. Newhart has said, for quite some time. I've had the honor of serving as mayor for 5 years and vice mayor for 3 years, I think, and it was a great honor, but I would decline at this time.
Okay.
Thank you.
I thought it would be a good idea because this has been a very controversial election season, and you've been the mayor before, and I think you're probably the most non-controversial person on this council, and I thought we could really use your leadership and your grounding to sort of get us back in balance. So I was hoping that you would be willing, but
thank you, Kelly.
Thank you.
Appreciate that very much.
I would like to second Mayor Leonard's motion.
There's a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Discussion?
Is there any discussion?
I have discussion. and I think maybe some people in the audience do too. I was hoping that we could do this very nicely and non-controversially, and I think there's a big elephant in this room, and certainly the staff and all of us have received emails alluding to a controversy. And I think this is just not the right time for this nomination, and maybe, it needs to be resolved, but I think it's just inappropriate at this time. And I think it's wrong to go forward.
Well, you're entitled to your opinion. There's a motion and a second. Are there any other motions? If not, all's in favor? Aye. Anyone against?
Opposed?
All right, passes 6-1. Congratulations.
Well, can we just finish the line?
Yes,
before you
we'll do
move
it.
on?
Selection of a vice mayor.
I nominate Josh Fuller.
I'll second the nomination.
There's a motion and a second. Any discussion? All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, the ayes have it. Anyone against?
I am, actually, because just like Mrs. Newhut says, I've been passed over, and I am fairly qualified, and I would like to have my time in my 2 terms that I'm here. And Josh, you came on after me. I don't oppose you having either position. I'm quite fond of you, and I think you'll do a great job no matter what, but I really think that it was my turn, and it's very personal, and it's inappropriate, and that business here for the town and personal should be separated. So no offense to you, sir. I'm sure you'll serve well, but I am opposed.
All right, so it passes 6-1. Madam Clerk?
I solemnly swear. I solemnly swear. That I will support. That I will support. The Constitution. The Constitution. And will obey. And will obey. The laws of the United States of America. The laws of the United States of America. And of the state of Florida. And of the state of Florida. That I will. That I will. In all respects. In all respects. Observe the provisions. Observe.
Oh, yeah.
Of the charter and ordinances. Of the charter and ordinances. Of the town of Bay Harbor Island. And will faithfully discharge. And will faithfully discharge. The duties of the office. The duties of the office of mayor. Helping God. Congratulations. Here, Thank you.
Josh, this is yours. Josh, congratulations.
Stephanie, switch the name, please. Jordan is Josh right
Oh,
now.
wait, I need my
Your badges.
paperwork. Hold on, I need
Jordan, you're Josh right now.
Hold on, I need my paperwork.
Josh? Here you go.
Oh, good, now I can hear what you're saying. We're moving all these things around.
There you go. There you go.
It's still not bad here, at least your closure.
Look at with
No, I have yours.
These are, and then Josh.
Oh, I have Josh too.
New blood, new blood.
Okay.
Somehow I end up with somebody else's check.
She already cashed it.
Yeah.
Nice try.
Mayor?
Okay, consideration and approval of resolution to reappoint the town clerk and deputy town clerk. The current resolution reflects the current appointments of Marlene M. Siegel and Alba L. Chang. Encloses a copy of the proposed resolution.
I'll move it.
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Great. Okay, who gives her the, okay. Consideration of approval of a resolution to reappoint the town attorney and assistant town attorney. The current resolution reflects the current appointment of Craig B. Sherman as town attorney with Drew B. Sherman and Frank Simone as assistant town attorney. Encloses a copy of the proposed resolution.
I'll move it.
Aye, Craig. Second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Hold on, we actually,
Oh, do we have public
do
comment?
we have to? Sorry, I'm new to this one.
We don't,
But we don't have
we
anything
don't
listed for
have
this.
we don't have anything listed. Could you
It says
please
regular
have...
council meeting, since we don't have anything listed.
This is for the regular council
This is all
meeting.
listed for the regular council meeting.
No, I filled one out for the appointment of the town attorney.
It's all good.
They come on, I guess.
Just do the form afterwards. if
Can you
have
do
it.
the form
No, there is
afterwards?
one. Yeah. I gave it, it's in there.
It's in there somewhere.
Somewhere, sure. That's fine.
Victor Maya, 1155 103rd Street. I sat here for year after year hearing about change order after change order after change order to the tune of over $6 million on our bridge. I saw each and every one of you up here pounding the dais, outraged at how this can be done. Isn't there anything that we can do? And our town attorneys basically said, no, there's nothing you can do. My question is, why weren't these contracts done in such a way to protect the town so that we had ample opportunity to go after these individuals for all of these overruns over and over and over again? I believe that our town attorneys basically are gearing their legal opinions to what is expected of them, what this council wants to hear, as opposed to legal advice that protects all of us. I'll give you a case in point. There was a legal memorandum dealing with eminent domain that you all received. Buried in that memorandum, there was reference to a change in Florida law regarding eminent domain. Every single case cited by counsel was predated that change in Florida law. I would like to know what impact that change in Florida law has on eminent domain before you go forward on any type of eminent domain issue. That's the type of legal advice that you should be getting from your town attorneys. I think that things have been very comfortable here for a long time, and it wouldn't hurt this council to go out and at least interview other attorneys to see what kind of advice you should be getting. We have way too many times sat here and said, well, there's nothing we could do about it. There's nothing we could do about it. There's nothing we can do about it. Over and over and over again, there's nothing we could do about it. I think we can. And I think it starts with making a change with our town attorneys. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comment?
Is there a response from the...
Would you like to respond?
No, I don't think any response is merited. There simply was no cause of action, and that's why we didn't get into expensive lawsuits that the likelihood of winning was small. We examined the contracts. Mr. Maya is not a practicing attorney and not licensed in the state of Florida, and he's not qualified, therefore, to give any legal opinions. We examined the case law. We examined the contract. We didn't feel there was a cause of action.
Okay.
And besides that, I just want to thank the council for 42 years and 19 years with Frank.
Frank started when he was like 4 years old. Or?
He just has a baby face.
We have one more public comment. Francis Newhart, if you could please come forward. Thank you.
Francis Newhart, 1060 Concourse. I've had nothing but hard times with this town clerk. It started 10 years ago when, if you see the business district today with the issuance of business tax receipts, you could see why the business district is the way it is today. And that is the usages that we are now putting on to our King Concourse. I don't know if it's her fault or whoever's fault it is, but to put a preschool and claim it to be a preschool and say it's a permitted usage 10 years ago is unacceptable. I recently had an experience where she was the director of code compliance, And she cost me a lot of money with our attorney because she incorrectly did things on the application, which I had proved, and she is no longer the Director of Code Compliance. We've also had issues all the time, and there are people who are sitting in the audience who can tell you the same thing about putting it on the TV set, these council meetings, these programs, announcing them constantly. And when buildings were up for their site plans, she'd put the wrong addresses on the site plan. This is not correct. This is not what the citizens here should be accepting. It's not a rocket science job where you shouldn't be making these mistakes. And I'm tired of it. I'm tired for 10, 15 years of this going on, and it's still going on. And I'm embarrassed of her for doing that to me and to a lot of people in this town. It hurts. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your comment.
Excuse me, could I just say something? I've had the pleasure of working with Marlene for the last 12 years. She's an incredibly hardworking individual. I rely on her for many things that go on, and she works often outside her role as a traditional clerk of a town. And the only reason that she is not the code compliance director still is that she asked if she could pass that baton on. Otherwise, I can tell you right now, she would be the code director of Bay Harbor Islands.
Thank you. We have one more comment. Ree Kelly, if you could please come forward.
Ree Kelly, I find it quite egregious that people attack a gentleman of such scholar as the attorney that represents this town. I don't agree with him on every point. I have been to law school. I could easily take the bar and argue in a courtroom. But this is a wonderful town. This isn't a town where people have to sue frivolous lawsuits. There was a lawsuit filed by one of our council people who was party to it. It cost the town $70,000. Was that ever paid back? I don't know. But they lost. And enough of this frivolous attacks and pettiness and what everybody thinks is important. There's bigger issues. There's much bigger issues than whether some mother-in-law doesn't perform her obligations and the daughter tries to fulfill them. There's bigger issues than suing on all this nonsense. We have qualified, diligent, intelligent counsel. So it's time that instead of going and running to court, people maybe consult with him, sit down and have a discussion with him so that they're informed of what the law really is. There's a lot of $5 lawyers out there. We have the best, and I think it should be represented as that. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Do we have any more?
Motion to adjourn?
I have comment.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's for regular, Kathleen, the one you have says regular meeting.
Regular meeting.
You meant for this one?
We did. Well, I'm going to...
A motion, a second. I have comment.
Go ahead.
Well, since I was pointed at and singled out, I'd like to clarify the last speaker's comments. And she was referring to me, who has been involved in legal action against this town twice. The first time with great success, and there was a former mayor here, she just stepped out, who was a leader in an organization, and thanks to our organization, the Bay Harbor Islands Citizen Coalition, you only have two 15-story buildings in the middle of the residential district, okay? So you can thank us for that we don't have a Sunny Isles. And the woman who is sitting to your right, you can thank her for leaving the legacy of those skyscrapers because she supported them. So if you want to talk about frivolous, it's not frivolous. It is our right. It's our constitutional right of due process to challenge the town. And there is certainly no malice, and there's no collection on that because it was not a frivolous lawsuit. But there are also people on this dais who've done horrible things that have cost the town numbers like $262,000, where we actually had to pay the other attorney's fees. And I'll leave it at that. I think you're well aware, but there's a lot of hypocrisy with these accusations being thrown around. As far as this nomination goes, I can say that having been involved in these two legal actions, that Mr. Sherman and Mr. Simone have always been gentlemen. And I learn a lot from the lawyers because they go to the courtroom, they duke it out, then they step outside and shake your hand and act in a very professional and chivalrous manner. So I will always give you credit for that, gentlemen. But I have had some disappointments. I think you very consistently show support of certain members of the staff. Last year, we talked about some procurement violations. It turned out that there indeed was a violation of the town code. We recommended that we change the code. I was validated and vindicated by our own town auditors, who will give the report for this coming year. So, I don't like having to come up here and say negative things, but if it's appropriate and the shoe fits, then it must be said, and I will say it. I am going to give a customary and an opposition. I'm going to vote in opposition of this, but I have no expectation that you will not be retained. I know it'll be a 6-1 vote, and I hope that you respect that I'm stating that, because the last straw for me was really, these campaign contributions, and we're going to talk about them at the end. But I found some contributions from your office very inappropriate, and I can't support that. So thank you for your professionalism and courtesy. I will always extend you the same. Thank you.
I'm going to say one thing. We have, the fact is, over the years we've watched as some people have come up and complained about the town manager, about town clerk, about town attorney. But for every person that has found some form of fault, I can tell you we've found 100 or more that understand exactly how lucky we are to have the staff we have in this town. The fact remains, if you look at other towns, other cities, other municipalities throughout the state, and you realize the problems and quite honestly, the inability to govern and manage themselves that we watch, and then you look at our town and the commitment that you see from the people that are here, from the town clerk, from the town attorney, from the town manager, whether it be in a normal day or whether it be right after the hurricane, I think it demonstrates just a commitment to this town, and I think we actually owe them thanks for how much effort they put forth.
Amen.
Comment that, many of us on the council are copied on a lot of the emails that go back and forth between certain residents, complaining about business tax receipts and, problems in the business district. I find while everybody has the right to complain and to assert their rights and their concerns, that there's been this ongoing series of emails and a campaign, so to speak, which really doesn't make a lot of sense. I mean, I'm an attorney and I understand business tax receipts and the way the system works and what a landlord or what a tenant needs to do to obtain a license to operate a business in the town of Bay Harbor Islands. And part of the problem that I see is on the part of the landlord in this particular case, who perhaps is not, protecting him or herself in the lease, or giving certain information that the tenant needs. I think that, in all my years on the town council, that our town clerk and deputy town clerk and our management and attorneys have been very professional and conscientious and have really gone, they do their job. They respond very quickly and intelligently to questions that our residents have or that our members of our business community have, and I think that they do a good job. In terms of the street, go to any other community and you're going to see vacancies from time to time. We've had a lot of interesting businesses in our community. Some work, some don't. We've got 2 great hotels now, which hopefully will, or 3, excuse me. I meant to say 2 new ones, but we have 3 hotels. Thank you, Josh. That hopefully will bring a lot more people to our community, walking the streets, going to our restaurants, and shopping in the stores that are there now, and hopefully other ones that will open up. So I look forward to to that extent, to somewhat of a revitalization of the street. But I think that we've had, a pretty good business community for all the years that I've been involved in this community and also for all the years that I've lived here. Thank you.
Yeah, I just want to make one quick comment, because we haven't voted on this item, right? And we're still talking about the lawyer?
Yes.
I know, look, I'm one of the people that have been on the council for almost 20 years now. And, I think that, Craig and Frank make a great team. I think they support us well. They serve our needs loyally. And, my son is the vice mayor of Bell Harbor, and, I think their retainer for their town attorney is like over $300,000 a year.
Don't tell 'em.
And, believe me, I'm sure that they know, they're well aware of what the going rates are for a city attorney, and I think they do their job, they defend the town, and they do it for a reasonable price. And I think, we're doing our fiduciary duty as stewards of the public dollar, and, having Craig and Frank as our town attorneys.
Okay. Any other comment?
I think there's just one last thing that hasn't been touched on yet, and thank you everyone for speaking out and sharing their opinions. But there is one thing that I think I'm uniquely positioned to be able to speak about, which is the amount of time that people have served, right? And I am by far the newest council member here. I've only been on the council for about 2 years, give or take. And I can tell you that in these meetings and in my conversations with both of our town attorneys, I learn every time that I speak to them, and I can tell you they don't tell me what it is that I am inclined to think that I want to hear at any given time. And so I appreciate the knowledge and the history that is brought here, both with my fellow council members and from our town attorney and our assistant town attorney, because I think you guys bring a wealth of knowledge that would not be available to someone like me without it, and that I need to be able to make sure that I'm serving the constituency to the best of my capability. So thank you.
Okay. We have a...
Let's vote.
Let's vote.
Motion in a second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed.
Okay. Number 9.
The oath.
The oath. Let's go. Do I keep...
Oh, no, you can.
I do.
Yeah, that's what you do it.
Like what?
You'll get used to it.
Okay. I solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution. Solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution. And will obey the laws of the United States of America. And will obey the laws of the United States of America. And of the state of Florida. And of the state of Florida. That I will in all aspects. That I will in all aspects. Observe the provision of the charter and ordinance of the town of Bay Harbor. Observe the provisions of the charter and ordinance of the town of Bay Harbor Island. And will faithfully discharge. And will faithfully discharge. The duties of the office of. The duties of the office of mayor. Mayor. So help me.
Straight to the top, baby. Straight to the top.
No, everybody needs to sign this.
You're more powerful.
Marlene, you know it by heart.
Yes,
I do. I know.
You guys are better than the John Roberts Obama. Sorry. That's the wrong name.
Don't worry, you'll get used to it. No, don't blame it on it. You have to leverage your assets.
I know. Okay, I'll move to adjourn.
Okay, second.
Okay, let's take a 10 minutes?
Well, she needs
No,
to...
get 10 minutes.
Just a couple minutes, she needs to probably...
Okay, 5.